Hi, my name is Rosalind. I'm here to tell you a few things about me learning that I am a indigo and a slash true flame. I found out a few years ago, well, not actually a few years ago, when I was 15, I found out I was adopted. Before that, there was a lot of things that went on throughout my life that I just really didn't understand, or it just really didn't make any sense to me. Um, I used to always have dreams about things that, I don't know if it was me or it was like in a different time, but there was a lot of things that my parents told me I really shouldn't have remembered. Because I used to ask them, did I used to cry a lot when I was a baby? And it's like, why would you ask me that? It's like, because I keep having these dreams um, that I was crying a lot. I was in this room with other infants, other babies, and I was the only one that kept constantly crying all the time. And I remember this person, either they were fair skinned or, yeah, they were fair skinned, and, they had like this big hair, and I just feel like these tears keep hitting my face, they constantly cried. And I just didn't really understand it. My parents were like, where did you get this from? Who told you this? And I'm like, nobody told me. I just kept on constantly having dreams about it. And then I was always wondering, I just used to have this dream about these four people, including me. There was in a constant dream, I would see this woman, covering her face, and she was always crying. And she was in the shadows, like I could see her there, but, I just didn't know her purpose. And the person I was seeing that I didn't know that was my father at the time, um, he would, there would be one aspect I would get this feeling that he was my brother or, a twin because we kind of looked alike and I never really understood it. And then there was some aspects, when I have different dreams that he would be a father figure to me or my father. And I would always, just have dreams like that. Like I would wake up in cold sweat screaming and hollering all the time. And I asked my mom, my mom would always ask me, hey, why, what's going on? What are these dreams about? What do you keep, screaming, waking up, calling your dad? And then when your dad gets there, or, or I scream for my dad, and she's like, well, you want me to go get him? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? She was just like, well, you're screaming for your dad. And I'm like, no, whoever I was screaming for that I said was my dad, he wasn't my dad. And I would keep my dream from her for a while, and she wouldn't, understand why I wouldn't tell her because it didn't make sense to me at the time. So I finally went ahead and told her, I'm ready to tell you my dream now. And she was just like, okay, what's going on? And I told her, that the person that I'm seeing in my dreams, really, I didn't understand. One time I would think he was my brother, and the other time I would think he was my father. And I would see a woman crying in the background, and my dreams were always end um, with me being pulled away with these people in black cloaks all the time. And my dad, he would be like stuck in cement or seeking sand or something, and he would constantly keep reaching out to me, and I just didn't understand why. So later on down the line, fast forward, I used to just constantly ask him, I never fit in anywhere. I didn't, I would get good grades in school, but it was just hard for me to concentrate. It was hard for me to get stuff. It was like they tried to say I had a learning disability, or they tried to test me for ADHD, um, different things, and I just didn't really understand it. And I would just ask them, are you guys my real parents? Am I adopted? And then they were just like, well, why would you ask us that? Do we not love you enough? Did we make you feel like that? This might tell you something. And I said, no, I just constantly keep seeing these two people um, that I just don't understand why they keep popping up in my dreams, and I love the one that I have about my father that I didn't know at the time. we would be in this big magical place, and just be beautiful. You never want to leave. And I just didn't understand that. So, I would get punished or whatever if I thought I was adopted or if I said I was adopted. On, there was just certain places, as a child I wouldn't go to. I would see like shadows or would get a bad feeling, and I would tell my parents, oh no, I was always one with nature. I always loved taking nature walks, going sightseeing, when we lived overseas in Germany. We used to always go to castles and stuff like that, but it was just certain places I would not go. And at 15, I found I was adopted, and I always kept on wondering, how my family is. I always wondered why I never fit in with anybody, and I've known this since I was little. It was nothing nobody had told me, but it was just when I found out I was adopted, years went by or whatever, and I was running away from home. My parents had got a divorce, and then I just like for the last almost close to a year now, I've been having these visions. Like I would hear certain songs in my head, and I was just wondering why, why am I hearing these songs? I'm in the shower and I'm listening to totally different music. Um, and I just didn't know why these songs were popping up in my head. My name was being called, but nobody would be in the house. And my head, in the middle of my head would constantly hurt. And I've been doing this research, and finding out there's more people like me. I didn't like school too much, even though I love to learn, but it was just their technique and their way of going about it didn't really interest me. I learned to learn things, I love to learn things on my own. And it was just throughout the years of me growing up, I would tell my parents stuff, and my mom was okay with it. She was very spiritual and superstitious. So, she would tell my adopted father, she knows things. She sees things that she shouldn't know, or sees things, there's no way of her knowing, she needs to know the truth. And, my adopted dad was just saying, that's crazy talk. She's crazy. She's going through stuff. She might be going through a phase, or, there's nothing wrong with her. They put me in and out of institutions when I was younger, therapy, trying to figure out what's wrong with me. So, it was just like, ever since this has been going on, I looked at my life, kind of find out my biological father had passed away last year, and still in the search of finding my mother. I have an agency that's looking for her. I just wanted to know more about myself. It's just the meditations that I'm doing. I'm here to. It feels like to save humanity. Because it's just all the violence and the chaos that's going on in the world. I don't like watching news. During the inauguration, that whole day, I never turned the TV on or got any social media, because it's just I don't really like dealing with stuff like that. I just feel like, they always tell us it's important to vote. Your vote counts. But it's just a lot of stuff I'm saying, obviously it doesn't. It doesn't matter who you pick. It's just, I guess it's just who they decide that they want to go ahead and put in office. So, I really never got interested in stuff like that. I never really wanted to deal with stuff like that. I was, constantly had negativity around me, constantly getting into different things, and I found out Indigos still go through the hardest things in life. Everybody goes through stuff, but it seems like with Indigos, that all the research that I'm doing, and what they are willing to share, they went through a lot of heart-wrenching things. We don't like being placed in a box. I never like being labeled. I always wonder why when you fill out an application, you put a resume in. Why the heck do you have to put in the same exact thing that you have to put in for you to get a job. I never understood that, and it was hard for me to always hold down a job. I was very sociable, very nice person, but it just seemed like I clashed with everybody. And I never could hold down a job like that. And I'm just like, what is wrong with me? And my family's like, do you think it's probably you? And I'm like, yeah, it's probably me, because it just seemed like I was the only one that was going through this. And I know people had bad mishaps or bad fortune or whatever, but I was just wondering why. It just seemed like as soon as I stepped out the door, it was just like, bam, you know, just like I was a walking Friday the 13th. Everything was bad happening. And I just never really understood why, I was going through all this stuff. And, I'm still doing research, still learning more about myself, after, come to find out that my father is my twin flame. We're like identical. I seen pictures and, my mom always used to tell me that he was my father and I never really believed it. And it was just like she kept on telling me I had a gift to give to the world, and I never really understood what that meant. I know your parents always say you're special, you're beautiful, you're smart, you do anything you want. And my mom told me that, but it was a lot more to that. It felt like I was talking to Morpheus and I was Neo in the Matrix. It was just like all I see is numbers, and I synchronize a lot. Like right now it's 11. I see 11:22. It's just like I see 11:11. 12:12. 10:10. It's like I synchronize all the time. And then anytime I do that, I always look it up and say, what are my archangels telling me? What are my spirits telling me? There's something that I need to do. And, it keeps telling me, reach out, talk to humanity, help others, and the friends, the company that I keep, which is very small, I told them about my experience, and then, they said, well, what do you get off of me? Because it's like, with you being a indigo, we suck up everybody's energy, we suck up all the feelings, and it just feels like 1,000 voices in your head, which makes you think you're going crazy. 12:12. It's just really crazy to me. I just never understood it. When I found out my dad was my twin flame, I always wondered why. Even though we never met, the things that I found out, we act just alike. And and it's crazy because I know so much about my dad and don't know anything about my mom. So I'm just, I pray on that a lot. I'm ready to be back with my family. I need to get that closure. I'm just wondering, is my family a lot like me? I know my dad is, because it's just like I always hear him talking to me, and it just sounds like a whisper in my ear. And I never fear it. I never did. I always used to speak to spirits. It's like sometimes I would see people and I would see this big white light around them. I never understood it. I remember there was one incident that I seen this lady, and she was at this optical shop, and she was looking really sad, but she had a beautiful smile on her face, but I knew her heart was breaking. And I see this light around her, and it's trying to get her attention. And when I was trying to ignore it, like, okay, nobody's seeing this except me. I don't want, make a scene or anything like that. And the spirit was like, can you please talk to her for me? I've been trying to get her attention for days now, and she just won't listen to me. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know what you want me to tell her. He said, please just go with the flow. So after me and my children were getting our eyes checked or whatever, I went ahead and asked her, is it okay if I talk to you? I really need to tell you something. And she looked kind of confused, and she said, okay. And, I grabbed her hand and I told her, I said, I don't want you to be alarmed or anything, but you have a spirit attached to you. And they've been trying to get your attention for the last few days. I don't know if you've been looking at something or, a certain smell or thought popped up in your head, but this person can't cross over, until you let the pain go, go through the process. And, I didn't understand at that time, but I understand it now. And she was just like, oh my gosh, I was thinking, about my son. And I was just like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And then she was like, no, my heart's breaking. My son was murdered. And, it's just when she was telling me her story, I could feel like through, even before I talked to her, I could feel her energy, like it was like a caution sign, like blinking. And I just didn't, it was just an emotion because I can feel my eyes watering up and I just didn't want to make a scene or anything. But I knew I had to talk to her. And then, she was telling me, I just can't live without him or whatever. And I said, well, he wanted you to know that, he will always be here. Anytime you think of him, like a certain food he eats or a certain song that you guys liked or a certain movie, that's just letting you know he's here. And like when I'm talking about that, I'm getting chills. It's whew. But after that, I felt so good because I didn't know what that woman was contemplating that day. But I know I felt good. She asked me, so what does he look like? Because I didn't know if she, thought I knew her or something like that. And I told her, well, he's standing right beside you. And right before I got ready to tell her that, she felt a chill. I said, did you feel a chill? She's like, yeah. I said, well, he's standing right beside you, touching me. I said, anytime you feel like that certain breeze when you think about him or any loved one, that's just letting you know their presence is they want you to acknowledge their presence. They're telling you hello. And I told her, he's not going to be able to pass on until you're willing to let that go. And I had to learn a lot through my, the experience that I had. If I was going to better myself, I wanted a better version of myself. If I was wanting to do that, I had to let all the anger go. All the people that, just really mistreated me, hurt me in any kind of way. You had to let it go. Just let it go. And it's a hard thing to do because it's just like if you've been stuck in that position for so long, it's kind of hard to get, you want to be happy. You don't want to be like that miserable Molly or, anything like that. They say, Debbie Down or Petty Betty, anything like that. You don't want any of that negative, energy around you. This is a new year. You want to be able to start off fresh, be a better person. And then, I was just so happy that I was able to talk to her because it was like a couple of days later, I saw her on the news. And I did not know it was her son's 1-year anniversary. And it made me feel so good, my adopted dad, he was telling me, you shouldn't do that. That's not right. You're not supposed to do that. You don't supposed to mess with, nature like that. There's things, people are going to get mad at you. People are going to think you're crazy. I said, and I told him, I said, look, if this is for me to do to help people, with the hurt that they got going on just to give them peace, I'm going to do that. Even though he tried to ridicule me and, he had brainwashed me for years, that, I idolized my dad. I wanted to be a lot like him. And, he didn't really care for that too much. It's like anything that had something to do with my father or, any kind of, like things I wanted to do like him, he didn't care for it. He took anything away from me that, reminded me of him or anything because he really didn't want me to know my family. And it's just like it took for my father to pass on. Now that I see him and hear him every day, and he keeps on telling me, sweetie, you're just so close. You're just so close. You're going to find your answers. You're going to get them as soon. It's the last, when you're not thinking about it, that's when it's going to happen. So I'm doing a lot of research and, meditating, trying to put myself at peace, center myself, and balance myself. And I'll be probably doing some more videos, hopefully that if anybody sees this and they're going through the things we're going through, I don't know if you dropped out of school, when it comes to learning, you don't want to, you want to learn things on your own. You want to do things on your own. if you're seeing things, you have lightheadedness, you know, you're synchronizing like all numbers. It's like when you have thoughts and feelings, um, and you see these different numbers and you don't understand what they are. You know, some people say, you know, when you see 1111, make a wish, or, you know, things happen in threes, or, you know, and I always constantly see numbers anytime I have a thought or whatever, and it's just letting me know I'm awakening, you know, I'm ascending, I'm being, you know, I'm finally knowing what my purpose is in life, you know, and this video is just to, you know, basically help myself. It's like, you know, therapy, and, you know, maybe 2020, maybe, you know, this can help somebody, you know, that's probably going through the same thing, or, you know, wondering why, you know, they feel alone when they're around a whole bunch of people. You can, you know, it's just like, you know, it's good to always keep a small circle, but, you know, even if you can be around a lot of people, you can still feel alone, you know, and I know there's a lot of people that's out there that's probably going through the same thing. So, hopefully this video will be able to help you out like it's helping me. And everybody have a good weekend, safe weekend. Stay blessed and peace.